All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for your patience. We're having some technical difficulties with our iPad right now. So I'm going to have to apologize to all the people watching on YouTube later because we're not going to be live streaming to YouTube right now. I am, however, going to make sure that this is recording. I'll upload it to YouTube later. So for all the people watching this after the fact on YouTube, especially if you had tuned in to watch it live, I'm sorry. But here's the info you were looking for. So we got some butts and seats. Thanks to the people who are already tuned in on Instagram. We're really glad that you're here. Today we're talking about immune health basics. So one of the big deals about the immune system is that it really needs a lot of nourishment. And that's not something that I hear spoken about a lot by a lot of health professionals. They'll have tips and tricks for if you get sick. One of the things I want to focus on today is what you do before you get sick to help your body avoid getting sick. But of course, I will also go over some of the things we do once we do get sick to help our body react in a healthier way. At any point in time, if you have questions, ask away. On Instagram, at the end of this, I'll check in and see what questions came up in the chat. I'm going to use the dry erase board to answer all those questions. Sound good? Right on. You've all got your handouts. And for those of you watching, if you ever want a copy of a handout, shoot us an email. Email address is right up on the board. Immune health basics. The immune system is a complex group of organs, cells, and fluids that keep your body from getting overrun by invaders. Today we're going to discuss how our immune system protects us from the four most common types of invaders. As always, the information here is based off of clinical experience and not intended to replace medical advice. We have to be so clear about this. I am not a doctor. I do not cure, I do not diagnose, I do not treat. I am a clinical nutritionist. I've also been called a natural health practitioner or a natural therapies practitioner. I'm here to help your body get stronger so it can do what it was designed to do, which is some pretty amazing stuff. So let's talk about the invaders. These are the four common reasons an immune system needs nourishment acutely and chronically, so in the moment and long term. Each requires a unique response from the immune system to be handled appropriately. And that's a big deal. The way your body fights a bacteria has similarities to how it fights a virus, but it's definitely not the same exact thing. Because the immune system is so complex, we got to make sure that we are acknowledging that. First type of invader I want to talk about is bacteria. And think of bacteria like an army. Typically a few micrometers in length, that is impossibly small. We're talking microscope needed to see it. Bacteria have a number of shapes, ranging from spheres to rods and spirals. You may have heard the term spirochete before. That helps determine what the shape is of the bacteria. It is a spiral shape. That's why spirochete starts with the same letters as spiral. Bacteria are tiny living beings. They are neither plants nor animals. They belong in a group all by themselves. Bacteria are tiny single-cell microorganisms that normally exist together in millions. I said that in a workshop a few years ago, and I remember one of the people who was there said, wait a minute. When I get a bacterial infection, you're saying it's not just one piece of bacteria that's messing with me? That's right. If one bad bacteria, single cell, one bacteria that's bad, comes into your body, your immune system is going to be able to handle that. The problem that a lot of people have when bacteria shows up at their body is that it's not one, it's millions that show up all at once. Because they are so impossibly small, they can group together and you still can't even see them. Millions of them can group together and you can't see them. There are good bacteria and there are bad bacteria. In order to help your body deal with bad bacteria, you increase the amount of good bacteria in your body by taking a probiotic or eating probiotic-rich foods, like real pickles. Kimchi is another example of that. Thank you, by the way. Sauerkraut is a really good example of that. But any fermented veggie should have good probiotic in it. I believe that someday antibiotics will be a thing of the past. The doctor of the future will begin to prescribe mega doses of probiotic to fight bacterial immune challenges. So my personal theory, and maybe I'll see it in my lifetime, we don't know, is that in the future, if you get a bacterial infection, you'll be given huge mega doses of good bacteria to go into your body. And to go along with that army analogy that I started to talk about bacteria with, the good army would overrun the bad army. So Drew's plan for dealing with bacteria: help the probiotic work better by nourishing the lining of the intestines with bone broth, one of the healthiest foods on earth, fermented veggies, Spanish black radish, and thymus gland support. So yes, you can eat Spanish black radish. Where is it? You can also supplement with it like you have so often heard me recommend. Show of hands, people in the room, if you've been on or currently are on Spanish black radish. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I try to put as many people as possible on Spanish black radish because you all need it. All right, onward. Questions on bacteria? Okay, let's keep going. Next one I want to talk about is virus. Think of viruses like a dictator. A virus is a biological agent that reproduces itself inside the cells of living hosts. When infected by a virus, a host cell is forced to produce thousands of identical copies of the original virus at an extraordinary rate. So you can also think of a virus like a photocopier that can hijack other photocopiers and just start kicking out copies. Like most dictators, a virus tricks you. As it reproduces itself, it works to draw no attention to the fact that it is doing so. It does not want to be the star of the show until it has built up its numbers. Attacking a virus takes more energy the longer it is allowed to exist. We're going to talk about that more in just a minute. It also requires more cleanup of dead viral material once the body begins fighting back. And then the virus is no longer allowed to exist. So let's go back over those last 2 points. The longer a virus is allowed to exist in your body, the more energy is needed for your body to deal with that virus. That's because a virus is something that can produce waste in your body. So as the virus is photocopying itself, I'm going to draw this a little bit. So this virus exists. It's right there. V for virus, okay? As time goes by, there's more and more of these viruses getting made. And they really aren't making a big deal about the fact that they exist. They don't want a lot of attention. They know a lot of attention usually causes their demise. So they're just photocopying themselves. And while they're existing, little pieces of them, debris, is getting created and going out into your system. Chances are, while your body is working on cleaning up this debris from these 2 viruses, the other ones that are in there are just making more and more debris. And that's why the longer a virus is in you, the more difficult it is to deal with, because your body is looking over here and it's like, yeah, we got rid of one of those pieces of virus. Yeah. Oh, we did it again. Oh, check it out, man. And meanwhile, over here, this virus is like, dude, I've made 5 more pieces the time it took you to clean up 2. So we want to make sure we get that junk out of there. We're going to talk about some ways to do that today. Don't worry. But does that make sense? The longer a virus is in you, the more difficult it is to deal with. Not just because of the number of viruses or cells of virus, but because they're breaking off debris. Yeah, okay. So my plan for viruses. Viruses don't handle vitamin A or C. They don't handle spleen and thymus nourishment or Antranex. That's this one. Use a lot of Antranex. Not quite as much as Spanish black radish. Show of hands if you've ever used this because you were feeling sick. 2 of you? Okay, cool. You can use this for a lot of things, but it's really common when someone's feeling run down to pair this with some of the immune support that we're going to talk about today. The combination of vitamins A and C, spleen and thymus nourishment, and Antranex can slow and even stop the copying process and drain the viral material once the virus has been attacked. I want to say that a little differently. The nutrients help the part of your body that was designed to deal with viruses do all the things they were designed to do. Your body has the equipment to deal with viruses. Pretty cool. But we got to nourish that equipment or we can't expect it to work the right way. Questions on viruses? Yeah. We will. So one of the things we're going to go over, I think it's in 2 pages. Yep. Is the supplements. So sorry, the question was, what are the specific supplements you use to nourish a spleen and a thymus and what has vitamins A and C? We're absolutely going to cover that. All right, next one, fungus. Think of fungus like bombs. Fungi, so the plural of fungus, are microorganisms like yeasts and molds, as well as the more familiar mushroom kingdom. And it is its whole own, that could probably be a workshop on its own. It's just talking about mushrooms and all the different kinds. There are good and bad fungus, just like there are good and bad bacteria. A bad fungus can remodel the area of the body that it's in. If you've ever had a fungal skin issue or a yeast infection, you know what I'm talking about. Fungus can also remodel the interior of the intestines, and this can reduce the amount of good bacteria and result in a person becoming more prone to bacterial infections. I'm going to say that again in a different way. One type of immune challenge can make you more susceptible to other types of immune challenges. We just went through a pandemic for years, right? Some people went through it more easily than others in terms of their immune system. Okay, not the whole social, all the other stuff, but in terms of their immune system. My personal theory about that is that people who have less immune challenges inside of their body, when a big bad bug shows up and starts to mess with their body, if their immune system isn't already distracted, it's like, okay, big baddie showed up, let's handle it. No big deal. But if their immune system was already dealing with a lot of stressors and distractions, then a big baddie shows up and we got problems because big baddie's going to start to call more shots. That makes sense? So my plan to deal with anything fungal. Fungus is soft, so we hit it hard. There are a number of naturally occurring enzymes. I hope you know this term already from watching my live streams, or my videos, or coming to my workshops. Enzymes are like Pac-Man, the video game, little thing that goes around chewing things up. So there are a number of naturally occurring enzymes that can destroy fungus. These enzymes must stay intact all the way down to the intestines. Zymex and Spanish black radish make a potent combination of these enzymes, and often Arginex is used to supply additional enzymes. So all 3 of these are standard process supplements, and Zymex helps correct the pH of your intestines. So I have an analogy for this. Believe it or not, Drew has an analogy. The analogy is when your intestines are in an optimal pH range, it's very difficult for certain immune challenges like fungus to exist. Think of it this way. When your intestines have a healthy pH range, fungus is like putting a polar bear in the desert. So the polar bear is the fungus, the desert is your intestines. Polar bear, big, strong animal, right? Very potent animal. But if you put it in the desert, it's only going to survive for a few days. That's what having a good pH in your intestine does to fungus. Questions on fungus? Yeah. Okay. So the question was, when we have a fungal infection, and I said that it can remodel the skin or the intestines. So think about if you've ever had a fungal skin rash or yeast infection, how the appearance of your skin changed so much. Probably got red, probably got inflamed, maybe it got bumpy or coarse, like rough feeling. That's what fungus does. Fungus itself tends to be pretty soft and pliable. Think about it if you've seen mold or if you ever squeeze a mushroom. For the most part, it's just kind of soft and squishy. But it can make your skin pretty coarse or pretty rough. That makes sense? Good question. Let's go on to parasites. Parasites, I refer to them as taxation without representation. A parasite is an organism that lives in or on its host, another living organism. Where did I go? The parasite benefits from deriving nutrients at the host's expense. So it's taking things away from the host. A parasite will get its host as weak as possible without killing it. It does this so the host cannot fight back. So parasites, when they're working in your body, they know that if they weaken you, they'll have an easier time surviving. They also know if they kill you, they're going to run out of food supply. So it's this fine balance between them zapping your energy and stealing your minerals and messing with you, and not doing it too much. They don't want to rock the boat too much. My plan for dealing with parasites. Giving someone a great deal of nourishment when they are dealing with parasites, not a good idea. The parasites may benefit from the nourishment more so than the host. So that's something that I think should be spoken about more. So I'm glad I'm talking about it right now. Is that when we put a lot of nourishment into a body and there's a parasitic infection that body is dealing with, it's very likely that the parasites are going to get a bunch of that nutrient. And they're going to really benefit from that. We don't want that. We want the parasites to get sick and weak. We want them to die off eventually and have your body just excrete them. So when I'm working a parasite case, it's really important for me that I'm using products and foods that are not gentle with parasites. Obviously, you have to eat something when you're dealing with parasites. But in terms of the supplements, I don't like to use a lot of the very nourishing supplements because I don't want the parasites to benefit from it. I just want to knock them around. Yeah. Parasites get destroyed by a certain category of enzymes that differ from what we use to handle fungus. Garlic and other sulfur-rich foods like Spanish black radish can help remove parasites. The nutrients in sulfur-rich foods are not the kind that benefit parasites. So typically when someone's going through a parasitic issue and I'm working with them, I'm going to recommend that they eat foods like garlic, onions, radishes, some of the sulfur-rich foods. That's going to help their body fight the parasites without nourishing up the parasites. So it's pretty common that I'll have clients eat, it was a beet and radish salad with a lemon garlic salad dressing on it. So that's a pretty wicked combo. The garlic in the salad dressing, the beets help the liver, and then the radish is very sulfur rich, so that helps get that stuff out of there and fight the parasites. So that's an example of a meal that we would eat when we're dealing with parasites. A little side dish. Maybe you have some turkey or some beef or something, and then on the side you'd have a beet and radish salad. Questions on parasites? Yes, it's gross. Yeah, it's pretty gross to think about. But don't worry, we can handle it. Don't think about it, just deal with it, kind of thing. Yeah. All right, cool. Let's keep going. I want to talk about the home team. These are the 4 primary parts of the body that handle immune challenges. Feed them, and they will keep you well. So I just spoke about the 4 types of invaders. Now what I'm going to do is talk about the 4 main parts, not the only parts, but the 4 main parts of the body that the immune system works with. First is spleen. Everybody, left side of your rib cage. Okay. Go out to the side even more. Spleen's right about there. Yep. It's protected by your ribs for the most part. I think that's intentional. Yes, you can live if your spleen gets damaged or taken out. It does present some unique challenges, though. Okay. This organ is considered to be optional or non-essential. Nothing is further from the truth. The spleen helps your body build up blood and all the protective abilities within the blood. Spleens love vitamin B12, as long as it's from food. None of this synthetic garbage that you can go to Walmart and buy for $3. Spleens love sulfur. Spleens love anything that's green. And they really like it when you help your body make healthy mucus. Yes, a certain amount of mucus in your body is healthy, well, has the potential to be healthy. How am I trying to say this? You're supposed to have mucus in your body. You just want to make sure it's healthy mucus. That's what I'm trying to say. And one herb that I love that does that is an herb called fenugreek. Kind of smells like maple syrup, so it's really easy to take, either in a tea form, which we can show you how to make here, or just in a supplement form. Really good for healthy mucus. Helps a lot of people when they have a wet cough, or if they feel like the cough is too heavy, and it's like staying low in their lungs, to help get it out. Fenugreek also helps that. The next part of the body I want to talk about is the thymus gland. This gland is located behind your sternum and is the president of the immune system. So that means it doesn't do much fighting, but it does give orders. As we age, the thymus gland will shrink if malnourished. To keep a thymus gland nourished, feed it ribonucleic acid, RNA for short, not mRNA, not in an injection form. That's a different thing. I wonder how many more times I'll say that in my lifetime. I didn't really have to say that before. Vitamins A and C, calcium, zinc, and selenium. So show of hands if you've ever been put on calcium, zinc, and selenium by me. 3 of you. Okay, cool. Those minerals do a lot of things for us. One of the things it does is it helps our thymus gland to perform. Next part of the body I want to talk about is lymph tissue. Your blood vessels and lymph tissue are the roads that your immune system travels on. The roads are designed for quick movement and must stay well lubricated. This is accomplished through the nutrients that we get from cod liver oil. Yes, it's one of the first superfoods that I ever learned about. It wasn't called a superfood when I learned about it. But there was this old cartoon drawing in a frame in my pediatrician's office when I was growing up. And it was a kid. He had a thermometer sticking out of his mouth. He was sitting on the doctor's bench. His cheeks were way too red. His nose was red. He didn't look like he was feeling good. The thermometer showed that his temperature was in the red zone on the thermometer. And the line underneath was the doctor talking to him and the boy's mother, saying, "Don't worry, this will help." And there was a bottle of cod liver oil and a spoon. Yeah. Wonder how old that was. Probably 100 years old now. But anyways. So cod liver oil is really good for the lymph tissue. The herb echinacea, which I have right here. It's my favorite echinacea on earth. And Antronyx. These are pro-lymph foods, but due to modern farming and processing techniques, the volume that must be eaten of pro-lymph foods is unrealistic. So an example is celery. Celery is really good for your kidneys. It also has a lot of benefit for your lymphatic tissue. But you would have to juice 3 stalks, so not ribs. Ribs are a single piece of celery when you break it off the stalk. Is it stalk? Am I thinking of the wrong word? All right, the whole bunch of celery. You'd have to eat 3 of those a day. It's totally unrealistic. Even if you juiced that much, you'd get sick of drinking the amount of juice that would come out of that. So instead of trying to fix our lymph with pro-lymph foods, I do encourage people, because it's much easier, to use certain supplements. And then the 4th member of the home team is the gut. The intestines house the greatest concentration of the immune system in the entire body. If you unfold your intestines, they cover half a tennis court. So think about how many nooks and crannies there are. Your entire digestive tract, so from mouth to backside, is about 30 feet long. But the intestines part of that has so many nooks and crannies, so many folds and bends, that if you unraveled all of that and unfolded it, you could cover half a tennis court. Isn't that wild? It's wild. So feed your gut well with mucus-promoting plants like fenugreek, bone broth, fermented vegetables, vitamins A and C, sulfur, and good bacteria. Those are the 4 main parts of the body that help your immune system work. questions on those four? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I like that. I'm going to get a little tangenty. Okay. The question was uh, a lot of our brain health stems from our gut. What influence do I see uh, gut health related to the immune system affecting mental health? Does that sound right? Yeah, cool. I think it's a big factor. I've met a lot of people who have psychological symptoms, right? They're anxious, they're depressed, racing thoughts, brain fog or confusion, trouble with short-term memory, all these things. Um, I don't necessarily give them a gut program because they have those symptoms, but because pretty much every program I put together has Spanish black radish in it, I know I'm doing stuff for their gut. And I'm just expecting that in the background, since some of the benefit of this is gut support, that it's helping the immune system in the gut, which will ultimately help the neurotransmitter, the brain health in the gut to develop also. To answer your question? Yeah. So I think it's a big deal. I'm running things in the background all the time to help that. Yeah. Cool. Other questions on the four main players, the home team? No? All right, cool. Let's flip the page. I want to talk about some of the supplements now. First one I want to talk about is called Conjuplex. Show of hands if you've ever used. Yeah, everybody. Okay. Is that shocking or amazing? All right, so when we are talking about Conjuplex, this is what you want to do to respond to an immune challenge. So it's not something you'll necessarily take all the time, not even prophylactically, not even as a preventative measure. But what you'll do is, if you start to feel like you're coming down with something, Conjuplex is one of my go-tos. It's a combination of that ribonucleic acid, of calcium, of thymus gland support, and vitamins A and C. And it is safe for pretty much anybody. Um, as long as the person is eating solid foods, then we're good to go with Conjuplex. They even make a chewable Conjuplex designed to make it easier for kiddos to get Conjuplex. But it's what we do to respond to an immune issue. Next one is Immuplex, which I believe I have here. Sorry. Here's Conjuplex. Here's some Immuplex. This guy. Immuplex is a lot like a multivitamin, specifically geared towards your immune system. So this is the preventative. This is the one that I take 2 of every day, all the time, because I just know the benefits of it. I want to make sure my immune system is humming. I see clients in here 4 days a week. I travel to give presentations. I know I'm exposed to a lot of different immune challenges, is what I'm saying. So I want to make sure that I'm just doing a basic to prevent my immune system from needing more help. Next one are some of my favorite minerals. We got calcium lactate, and zinc chelate. That is definitely also in the category of prevention. Now, if you're having an acute issue, you'll see on the next page, we're going to talk about it. You can boost up your intake of calcium and of zinc to help your immune system acutely, but I do, for the most part, recommend some amount of these 2 supplements as a preventative. Those 2 are right here. Yes, I grabbed the biggest bottle of calcium lactate I could find. Yes, there are smaller bottles of calcium lactate. All right. Oh, Anthrax and Spanish black radish. Big ol' SBR. So these 2 both strongly fall in the prevent. You can use them ahead of time just to make sure that things like your lymph tissue are really flowing, things are moving out of your body. But then you can also use them to respond. A little extra of these ones helps your body acutely get more of that garbage out. Oh, echinacea. This one is also like a multivitamin. I already had that out, didn't I? Here. Echinacea, very much so like a multivitamin for the lymph tissue in the body. This one also falls under the heading of prevent, more so than respond. You can use it to respond. I have a different product that has echinacea in it, but also some other things, that's a better responder. So for the most part, echinacea is like a 2-a-day kind of thing for me, all winter long. So let me get clear for a second, because I don't actually take that many supplements, in my opinion. Immuplex, every day, all year round. I take 2 every day. Echinacea Premium, all winter long, 2 a day, easily into March. So what's nice, this bottle, I go through 2 of these bottles every winter basically, because each bottle lasts 2 months. So for 4 months, I'm taking 2 of these a day with my Immuplex. That's a really nice combo to keep me well during the winter. Here's the other one, the Andrographis Complex. Yes, this stuff is amazing. It's a potent combination of plants that can save your holiday, work presentation, or other big deal that you can't be ill during. I'm going to go over some different scenarios on the next page in here. Andrographis is used for one of those scenarios. It's when you can't get sick, but you're feeling sick. The example I give is one of the first workshops I ever taught. I was hired by the school I had just graduated from. And they had, I think it was 13 people showing up. So I was over the moon. I was going to teach muscle testing to 13 different people. This was going to be amazing. And I had everything set up the night before. I left the office. I knew the next morning I just had to walk in, turn on the lights, and let's go. And I woke up in the morning with a really gnarly sore throat. I was really upset about it. I was having trouble talking. I was going to have to contact the school, and they were going to have to contact the attendees and have them cancel. I was thinking I knew at least one person was driving 2 hours from Illinois to come to this workshop. I was like, So what I did was I took 2 of these right away, and then I kept one of them between my gum and my cheek the rest of the day, the whole time I was presenting, and I got through the entire day. And I strongly believe that Andrographis Complex is what helped me do that. Total saver for you. If you have a work presentation you can't miss, you have a flight you have to get on for something, just something that isn't easily reschedulable. Reschedulable is a word? All right. And then ProSynbiotic and Biofilm ProBalance. These are probiotics. These are good bacteria and nourishment to keep good bacteria well fed and strong. So these can both be prevent and respond. I prefer them as prevention. I like people to be on some kind of probiotic, even if it's just probiotic-rich foods on a regular basis. I think they work better as a preventative than as a responder. I think there's other tools in the toolbox that are better at responding. But in terms of a preventative, 1 or 2 each of these a day, all the time is a really great idea. My personal approach to probiotics is that if it's a day where I didn't get a probiotic food, I take a probiotic supplement. Otherwise, I'm trying to eat like Clover Meadows yogurt, which is really good yogurt, or a fermented vegetable. Because the only place I know to get Clover Meadows is about 35 minutes from my house, so it's not the most convenient thing. But the fermented veggies are in pretty much every grocery store. If I don't get some of those for whatever reason, I take a probiotic. Woo. Don't have any more of the arsenal on the table. Any questions about the arsenal that's laid out here? I see you eyeing it up. Oh, yeah. That is a good question. The question was, do I keep all of these things in my house all the time? No. You can if you want to. I'm happy to sell them to you. Typically in my house, let's see. Yeah, I'm on some kind of zinc or some kind of calcium. I have Chondroplex around in case I get sick. We already spoke about how I use Immuplex and Echinacea. Antrax I always have around because there are people in my house that deal with allergy symptoms. That's something we use that for. Spanish black, if I could figure out how to get Spanish black radish into an IV, I'd probably get a bag of Spanish black radish every week. And then the probiotics, I spoke about how I use that also. So I definitely don't have all of these in my house all the time. But I know where to get them if I need them. All right, so let's go over some scenarios. The following scenarios are dosed and designed for adults. If a child is needing to follow these guidelines, make the following changes. Chondroplex would be replaced by the chewable Chondroplex. Those are smaller tablets, so then the amount can be the same because the product itself has less per tablet because it's smaller. Zinc liver chelate should not exceed 1 per day. Echinacea premium should not exceed 3 per day. And Andrographis complex should not be used by anybody under the age of 15. There's certain things that we want to have developed in the body before we start using some of the herbs that are in the Andrographis complex. So 15 and younger, I'm going to say avoid the Andrographis complex, but you can still use the Echinacea product. All right, first scenario. I don't want to get sick. Let me take this off the board. All right, so first level is don't wanna. I don't want to get sick. What it says here is you're going to take 1 Immuplex, 3 Antranex, and 2 of the Biofilm Pro Balance daily. That's the simplest I don't want to get sick program. Okay, I do 2 Immuplex because I feel noticeably better on 2 instead of 1. Feel free to do the same thing. That's a really simple combo: Immuplex, Antranex, Biofilm Pro Balance. Really nice combination of things that help us in that preventative category, right? Get in front of it. Yeah. Next combo is I'm getting sick. Oof, I don't like that feeling. I don't like feeling it creep up on me. So if you think you're getting sick, we get more aggressive. We're going to do 9 Chondroplex a day. It's worth it. 6 Antranex, 3 zinc liver chelate, and 3 Spanish black radish daily. Now that is a whole bunch more pills than the first protocol. I'm well aware of that. But if you're getting sick and you'd rather not be sick, it's the best thing you can do. You take this combination, your immune system kicks into a higher gear. It's a wonderful thing. And then you have a much easier time dealing with whatever type of immune challenges come in your way. Next one is it's bad. All right, so it's no longer like, oh, I think I'm getting sick. In this scenario, you're sick. You got junk messing with you, and it's bad. You take a Chondroplex, 2 Antranex, and 1 Echinacea Premium every half hour. Yeah, that's a lot of pills right after a day or two. That's usually only how long you have to do this. So the idea here is if it's bad, if I told you that being diligent with your fluid intake from having to drink so much darn water to swallow all these pills would help, look at that. Now we're getting our water intake and we're taking all this immune system nourishment. So we want to do that combination every half hour because that kicks our immune system into a higher gear so it can get more work done. Next combination is for it's really bad. Yeah, it's really bad. You're past bad. You're not just coughing. Maybe you're having uncontrollable coughs. Your throat doesn't just hurt. You want to wrap 3 scarves around it and swallow ice cubes all day. It's really bad. 1 Conjuplex, 2 Antronex, and 2 of the Andrographis complex every half hour. So yeah, again, it's a whole bunch of supplements. But what we're going to do is we're going to kick that immune system response up into an even higher gear by nourishing it to do so. So I don't want you to think about it like just pressing your gas pedal in your car harder. What this combo does is it puts gas in the tank of your car, it gives you performance tires on your car, and a professional driver to drive your car so you can sit in the back and read your favorite newspaper. Okay? It's a really effective combo. I've seen people use it multiple times, and they go like, yeah, it's pretty cool that I felt sick, and then 8 hours later, I felt like, oh, I'll get a good night's sleep, and I'll be totally fine tomorrow. Like, wow, you went from it being really bad to just, oh, I could use some rest. That's really good. And then last but not least, I'm dying. Years ago, I had a client take a really cheap shot. Oh, man. She got me good. But it was a cheap shot. She said, oh, why'd you call this combo I'm dying? Why didn't you just call it my husband's sick? Ooh, that was brutal. Okay, it was brutal. It's like, I know some people don't handle immune challenges very well when they get sick. She goes, no. Some men. I was like, geez, okay, I don't know who hurt you, but I don't think it was me. Jeez. So the I'm dying combo. 1 Conjuplex, 2 Antronex, a Spanish black radish, 2 Andrographis complex, and a garlic capsule from Standard Process. Super sulfur product. Every half hour. This combination should only be taken for 3 hours. Okay? This is very short term. I know it's a bunch of stuff. You're only going to do it short term. It's going to take 3 hours. And then after the 3 hours, do the It's Really Bad protocol. And then do the It's Bad protocol for a day. So you're kind of stepping back progressively, less and less supplements. But if you're like, this is one of the worst immune challenges I've ever dealt with, this combo can knock it out pretty aggressively. It's pretty wonderful. Just so you know, when you're on the I'm dying combination, you can expect your body temperature to fluctuate. You can expect your intestines to feel kind of funky and to feel tired. A lot of people also report that they have 1 or 2 bowel movements during those 3 hours. Now, it's not messy. It is just the body getting rid of some garbage, which is ultimately what we wanted. And then at the bottom there, it says bone broth, fermented vegetables, during all of the above protocols. Fully recommended. Bone broth has so many nutrients for your immune system in it, so much intestinal support, so much gut support. Yeah. Those are the scenarios. Think of some questions. I'm going to check the chat for questions too. And then I got a surprise for everybody who showed up today. Did sound stop working? Karina Sarita, living. Would you let me know the sound? Because my mic is on. I think it's working. Let me know. Alan Suzer TB, I see you're here. I'm glad you're here. I know I'm going to call you. I got your voicemail, so I'm going to call you. All right. So there's a question from Lori. Thank you, Rescue Mama. Much obliged. All right. The CDC recommends getting an annual flu vaccine to prevent the flu for anyone 6 months or older. I personally am not a fan of any vaccines. What are my thoughts about this? Oh, okay. So let's just run up to the cauldron of boiling water and see if I just want to drop myself right in that cauldron of boiling water, just totally cook myself. So vaccines are a real hot topic, probably will be for a really long time. I want everybody to be assessed as an individual. I don't like the idea of thinking of all vaccines and injections as being the same, because there's quite a bit of diversity in the world of things that get injected in vaccines. And I know a lot of my peers don't like that I talk about vaccines that way. For a lot of people, it's like a black and white issue. Either you're for them or you're against them. I am for assessing the individual and looking at all the aspects of their case, including what kind of immune system issues do they have going on, to see what's most appropriate to help their body deal with immune challenges. So there's no one answer on the topic of vaccines. I do really like, as a flu preventative, I really like the Immuplex Antranex combination, because viruses tend to get, because they're photocopiers, if you remember the red squares on the board, and they make all that debris. Immuplex helps the part of your immune system that's really good at fighting viruses, and Antranex helps the part of the liver that cleans up the viruses. And since flu is a virus, I'd want a person using that combination. That's what I think would be best, would be get that Immuplex Antranex combination as a preventative. That I'm comfortable saying across the board for people. Yeah, I hope that answers your question, Lori. Good question. Other questions that came up? Very good question. So the question was, if somebody is already taking something that's in those protocols I listed, what do they do in terms of dosing? So in all these protocols, if you're already on Spanish black radish, because you should be, or if you're already on Immuplex, etc., you take your daily dose in addition to what's on here. So if you were, for example, already on the I don't want to get sick combo, and then you had to go to It's Bad, you'd continue the Immuplex, the Antranex, the biofilm from I don't want to get sick, and then you would add in what's in the It's Bad combo. Yeah, good question. Check the chat again. All right, another question from Lori. Can a person have an overactive immune system, and can this possibly be a cause of autoimmune disease or allergic reactions? Really good question. So, can a person have an overactive immune system? Absolutely. And that can mess with all sorts of things in the body. The difference between an overactive immune system and something like autoimmune is autoimmune means that the person's immune system is attacking a part of the body instead of an opponent like one of these invaders. So you can have an overactive immune system, you can have an autoimmune condition, you can have both of those things at the same time. And then allergic reactions, so there's a lot of different types of allergic reactions. Sometimes you can have an allergic reaction because of irritants in your body and things called histamines. And then you can also have allergic reactions because something is so irritating to the body, or you get exposed to too much of something. So across the board, for those issues, when we see the immune system is too active, or there's an autoimmune condition present, or there's allergies, I do a lot of the drainage. I do the Spanish black radish with the Antranex. That's a real foundational combination to help junk get out of the body. It's not going to stimulate the immune system at all, because if it's overactive already or it's autoimmune, I don't want to stimulate it further and have it do more of that stuff. What I'm trying to do is just help get the junk out of there so your body doesn't get backed up with all that activity going on. Good question. Now, I was looking at the timer. We've been going at this for about 45 minutes. That's where I usually like to wrap these up. So if you have a question, ask it now. Yeah, we can talk after. And I'm going to check the chat one more time. All right. And Kelly's here. Hey, Kelly. Got a good crew. All right, no more chats rolled in. You lovely humans. So these workshops that are on Thursdays, then we also do them on Saturdays. They are going to change in the new year. They are going to be in person for everybody. But if you want to access the video recordings of these, it's going to be for clients only. We're also going to have a Zoom feature set up in the new year where clients, and only clients, will be on a Zoom call, and my computer is hooked up to some nice loud speakers. So you can watch from home privately with your camera off. And if you have a question, you'll be able to click your microphone on and you can ask your question in real time. That'll be something that'll only be offered to clients. Okay? Because I love that so many people showed up today, even though it's frigidly cold outside. Glad all of the starters in your car work. I have a bottle of Spanish black radish. There's a pyramid on the table back there. Where is it up here? Every one of you gets to go home with a bottle of Spanish black radish on me, because I appreciate you coming in today. And we can talk afterwards. For the rest of you, I'll see you, I think it won't be next Wednesday, because it will be next Wednesday. It's the Wednesday after that we won't be here. So you'll see me next Wednesday for another Wednesday weekly workshop. And again, YouTube, I'm sorry, but I'm going to post this video. Okay? Have a great week, everybody.